Hello and namaste. This is Sophie, and I'm back again with another episode. And I have a very special guest with me today. He's none other than Jeff. Welcome to Access Education Network, all the way from New Zealand, from Massey University.
All the way from New Zealand, and I must say I'm so impressed. This is my first time to Nepal. First time, obviously, to Kathmandu. I love it. It's a beautiful city. I love the vibrancy. I love everything I've seen. I want to come back already.
Yes, please do.
Well, Nepal is famous, of course, for the beauty and everything else. So,
Yes.
no, I'm loving it.
So this is your first time in Nepal?
It is. And I'd have to say I've traveled the world quite extensively, just have never made it to this corner of the world, and I will be back. Well, for vacation, I think.
Yes, definitely. You need to travel.
Not that I haven't enjoyed coming to Access Education, which of course I have, but I'll be come back to just, on leisure, to go on vacation. It'd be lovely.
Wow, we would love to welcome you, even though it's vacation.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
Yeah, before starting with a few of the things that I have for you, I would like to request you to give your brief introduction to our viewers.
To give my introduction?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. So introduction. So you said we didn't have that much time. I could give probably an hour introduction, so I'll make it short. So I'm from America. I've been in New Zealand for the last 24 years, so I'm a migrant to New Zealand. So when we talk about migrating to New Zealand, I can speak with some authority. Prior to that, I lived in Indonesia for 11 years, and prior to that in the States and in Taiwan, so I've had different businesses through all those countries. So I'm probably one of those unique academics in that most of my life, more than 25 years, I have been a business person, have been an entrepreneur, and then we moved to New Zealand where I joined the university with no intention of actually joining the university. But at the time, I was working on my PhD, and another qualification was called CFA. I'm a Chartered Financial Analyst, and I was working on those. And at the time, the dean of the school said, "You've been in business all your life. You probably know what you're talking about, in terms of business, certainly. Can you please teach?"
Wow.
And I said, "I'll try it," and I loved it, because I love the students. I love sharing knowledge, business knowledge, practical knowledge with our students, which I would say is the hallmark of Massey University, certainly, is that we are very much an applied university, as opposed to this focusing on theory, as very much, certainly in the business school, is very much about teaching and preparing our students with the latest theory and research, but helping to teach them in an applied way that will help them go on to have amazing careers and jobs.
Wow.
So that's what we're all about. So that's what I bring to the table, Sophie, I would say.
Yeah, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And I want to know more about you as well. So how did you so you started your journey with Massey University itself, or some other institution?
So, no, I've only ever worked, the honest truth is I have always, since a young man, I've had my own businesses, and I've only ever worked for myself. So I joined Massey University 22 years ago without the thought of becoming an academic and a piece of the furnishings at Massey University. I've been there that long. But what I really found, having come from Indonesia, where we had quite a successful business, we had 300 something employees and really enjoyed running the business. But when we came to New Zealand and I started teaching, I felt it was really a good opportunity to give back. And my wife as well. So my wife is a professor of marketing at Massey University as well. So finance is my area, here is marketing. So we really get a lot of enjoyment and reward out of working with our students.
Yeah.
So that's why we're there.
Yeah, that's what talking and connecting with the students and motivating them to achieve the career that they want to. I think that's the motive of your family.
Well, helping them on their journey, and it's not just my wife and I. That's certainly what we're all about. We've had our good business careers, and now it's about giving back, I suppose, in a sense. But I would have to say that what's different about Massey University is my wife and I aren't alone in that view. In actual fact, the vast majority of our colleagues are very much of the same thinking that, it's a privilege to accompany our students on their academic journey. We very much, feel that there's a huge responsibility in that. It's not just a job. It's not just teaching them information, useless information. It's about really preparing them. And any given week, to be fair, I travel quite a bit. I'll run into students very frequently who I've maybe had, I could be in China, I could be in India, I could be in Southeast Asia, that I've taught 15 years ago or more or longer, who have gone on to have impressive careers. And like I say, my area is finance. So my students tend to be, in financial services, financial fields. It can be a bit depressing, actually, because I'll go to Sydney, for example, and I'll meet my students from 15 years ago, and they're making 3 times as much money as I do. But I'm joking, of course. But it's like, it's a good career. Think about me, if you want to make some donations or no, I'm joking. But no, it's actually quite rewarding.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We can totally relate on that as well. Like the work that you're doing and the work that we're doing. That's where we align, guiding the students in the right pathway and giving them the good career advice. So that's where we align. And talking about that, have you ever met any of the Nepalese students doing wonders in New Zealand?
Well, in actual fact, I have a handful of Nepalese students right now in the MBA program. So my current role at university, I'm the Dean of the Executive Education, which is the school that has the MBA, Executive MBA, and all professional education modules within it. So it's actually a sweet spot for me because that's kind of where I want to be. But we do have a number of Nepalese students who are going through the MBA as we speak, and we get to know our students quite well. And I'd have to say, generally speaking, we, the university, and certainly the business school where we know our students quite well, are very impressed with South Asian students generally. They're very motivated. They're smart. They come from a diverse, wealth of work experience. They've been in all kinds of fields. Their English is quite good. And the Nepalese students, certainly that I've spoken with recently, in fact, as recently as last week, we had like a pizza gathering. We have informal lunches for our students in the MBA program. No, they're really doing well. They're thriving. They're enjoying it. It's a good pathway into New Zealand, doing the MBA program because it's a professional qualification. It's well known. We're the #1 MBA program in New Zealand, and we're in the top 10 around Australia and New Zealand. So it's really a highly regarded program that offers a lot of opportunities for our students once they graduate. So it's really cool. It's really nice to see them thriving and doing so well.
Okay, so talking about MBA courses or anything that's related to business, what are the courses that Massey University is currently offering for the students who's completed bachelor's?
So we have a number of master's programs. So we have Masters of Analytics, Master of Finance, the Master of Management. Master of Management has 5 different specializations that would range from marketing, management, HRM, sustainability, the top ones. We have Master of Professional Accountancy, and then of course we have the Master MBA, the Master of Business Administration as well. So the commonality between all of the programs, the master's programs we have at Massey Business School, again, they're applied. They're very much focused on developing the skill set required for our students to go on and have careers and to assimilate into, the New Zealand environment and have careers within New Zealand. Most of our students, international students, are looking to migrate. And that's great, migrate to New Zealand, that's great. Why? New Zealand, unlike other Western countries, is very much relaxing the migration settings, the immigration settings, because we need skilled labor to grow our economy. So if you compare New Zealand with other Western countries, Canada, Europe, America, Australia even, New Zealand is taking an opposite approach. We embrace our international students. We welcome them as contributors to our national economy. We need skilled labor. Yeah. New Zealand's a small country, so that's way different. So all of the Massey master's programs, certainly, undergraduate to a lesser degree, but the master's programs all are helping to develop the skill sets that are required for our students to have successful careers in New Zealand. in addition to the curriculum, which, we talk about Master of Finance, for example. Master of Finance is a famous program at Massey. That's my original home at Massey, Master of Finance, being a finance person myself. We're top 100 ranked in the world. So that's very, very important. And Master of Professional Accountancy, all of our masters are very highly regarded. The difference is, say, before I talk about differences, so all of our master's programs, Master of Business Administration inclusive, we incorporate into the curriculum what are the skills that are required by employers. And it's not just the technical skills, learning accountancy, learning finance, management, marketing. The skills that are going to get our students jobs are the other things, the soft skills. That's what certainly New Zealand employers want, and certainly employers around the world, the soft skills meaning the 5 C's.
Yep.
Do you know what the 5 C's are, Sophie?
Communication.
Yeah?
And?
Okay, put you on the spot. So communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and also confidence. So, you need to learn how to carry yourself. And confidence you don't just acquire overnight. You don't just become a good communicator overnight. Yep. These are all skills that we incorporate into all of our master's programs. Every single course will focus on communication, whether it's written reports or doing presentations to your class, collaboration, working in teams. It's not a natural skill, honestly, and certainly, as the administrator of the MBA, for example, if I could get rid of all group projects, I probably would, because they create more friction at times than anything else, because not everyone gets along. But that's a required skill set. You need to know how to get along, right?
Yes. Work in a team.
Work in a team, that's right. And the reason I give for that is, like myself, I'm very analytic, I'm very quantitatively oriented. That's why I'm a numbers guy, a finance guy. My weak suit is creativity, and to think laterally and to think outside the box. So, I have learned through my, different projects I've been involved with that I need to work alongside somebody with that skill set that I'm missing, right? So with, a world that faces increasingly complex problems, it's ever more so important that our students learn to work across a team with diverse skill sets, right? So that's very, very important. But we teach all of those soft skills that we see are essential. Even, to be honest, with the Bachelor of Business, our key bachelor's program, those are skills we start teaching our students from bachelor's level, because we know that's important, because our employers tell us that's important. So that's what we focus on. But we also keep the curriculum fresh, particularly within the MBA and executive MBA programs, because those are professional qualifications. So the students coming into the MBA or the EMBA are looking for immediate career pathways, into New Zealand, the New Zealand workforce. So with the MBA and EMBA, we continually review and but update all of our courses. We do every 3 years, a third of our courses every year go through a recycle. And we review them, peer review them to make sure they're fit for purpose. Because we don't want to be teaching, for finance, a theory that's stale or that's no longer applicable to their jobs, right? So that for us is very, very important. We do that. So all of our programs are continually looking at what we teach, how we teach, because learners nowadays, student learners now, they learn differently than I did. When I was back in the years when I was a university student some years ago, so I continually, for example, with the MBA program, I personally audit every single course once a year. So which makes the lecturers maybe nervous at times. I go sit in and observe their teaching practice to make sure that they're delivering at the level that I would expect them to deliver at in our program. So we're always making sure that our quality is maintained, the highest quality of what we teach, how we teach it, and how we prepare our students to go on and have careers. Because we know, if you think about it, again, being a finance guy, I think in terms of return on investment, so the students that we have, coming from Nepal or all of our international students, that's a significant investment.
Yeah.
in their future, and their families are making a significant investment, and it's got to be scary. I would think it's got a lot riding on it. I have students who migrate from Nepal or India or wherever, young families, young married couple with maybe young children. That's scary stuff, actually. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to earn their respect and to assure them that they've put their confidence in the right people, which we believe are Massey Business School certainly.
Yes, that's very, very true. So we also get a lot of query from the students, like they have their business here, they have their family, and they're trying to go further study in New Zealand, and they're taking their family along with them, and in that part we guide them as well. Like, that's why I always tell my students that they need to be very careful with what institution they're choosing, what course they're choosing. Is that related to their current work or not? Or is that will that help for their future plans or not? The thing that you said for return on investment, I always tell them that every penny matters. Every penny that you invest for your further education matters, and you need to be very much you need to have a clear vision on what you want in the future. It's not just going abroad for studying, or you need to have a very proper goals and plans, career goals, what you want to achieve in the future. I think that's how we guide students.
Well, I would say a couple things to that. Number one, I would say the role that Access Education that you play with advising and consulting with your students, that's critical. That's absolutely critical in helping them to understand their options, understanding what programs are available, what they're better suited for, what their end goal is. They're looking for migration pathway, what they see as, what their aptitudes are. I'm sure you're helping them. I actually had a student just yesterday, I think it was, he wanted to go and do a Master of Analytics. And I said, can you tell me why you want to do a Master of Analytics? He said, because that's where all the jobs are. I said, but okay, you've never taken an analytics course. Do you have a quantitative aptitude? No, I hate numbers. Why do you want to have a career in analytics just because you get a job? First of all, you're not going to do well, right? Second, if it's something you hate, you absolutely follow your passion, you're not going to do well. So anyway, so the service that you provided, Access Education, is critically important. So what can further advice can I give? Yeah, you have to explore all your options. You have to have goals, set goals, but you have to have flexibility. You have to have the flexibility to embrace opportunities unforeseen as they present themselves. Because you might have a very rigid set of, I'm going to step A, B, C, D, E, F. But then when you get to New Zealand, you say, oh, there's an opportunity here. I go from A to G instead of A, B, C, D, F. I can go from here to here. And I'd have to say, if I was to share, with my wizened age, the successes I've enjoyed primarily have come from taking chances that nobody else has wanted to. Because, New Zealand's a country of sheep. So, we have a saying, if, you follow the sheep, you're going to be part of the flock, right?
Yep.
So if you want to stand out, you have to go out and try something a little bit different. And like I say, when I migrated to New Zealand, we sold a business in Indonesia. So that was August 30th of 2002. My youngest was 4 years old, and our daughter was 6. So we sold the business because of kind of the economic turmoil and political turmoil in Indonesia at the time. So we moved to New Zealand. It was scary. So I can relate. So I am a migrant in New Zealand myself. I can relate. Matter of fact, it's funny because my wife and I will talk about this now, all these years later. It's like, would I take that same risk now? It's like, how did we have the courage to do that back those 24 years ago? That's pretty scary stuff. What, you move, you don't have you've sold your business, no income, 2 young kids, it's starting a whole life over again. So you just have to have confidence in your decisions and don't look back. That would be the other thing I would say. When you make a choice, don't look back. Just go forward. Stick with it. But at the same token, be willing to take chances. So, I appreciate it. We definitely empathize with certainly I myself and my wife and other of our colleagues do empathize with these students. But it's also really exciting. I think when I look back now, and certainly my years in New Zealand, our children have thrived. They have done really, really well. New Zealand has been so good to us in so many ways. It's a beautiful country. This is to talk a bit about the country, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful country. The people are amazing. They're very, very welcoming. The weather sometimes is in Auckland. I'm from Southern California. I'm from San Diego, so I'm not used to rain. Everyone else seems okay with it, but it's like But everything else is amazing. And would I change anything? No. And the other thing I would say, and I've said to our children certainly about what's different about New Zealand, is New Zealand is very much a small pond. It's a country of 5.5 million people, 30,000 sheep, 5.5 million people. It's very easy to be a big fish in a small pond. Very, very easy. And I say that to our daughter now who's in New York City, Manhattan. And it's like, she realized that when she was in New Zealand, she was at the top of many, and she still is. But I mean, she rose, she got a lot of her experience, opportunities that you wouldn't have got. So for myself, I was president of the CFA Society in New Zealand for 6 years. I was on the board for 9 years. I've been on a variety of other different boards. If I had, spent my career in Los Angeles or New York, there's no way that I would have ever had those opportunities. So that's what's really great about New Zealand. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because New Zealand is such a small country, it's easy to get known. So our students, what we talk actually a lot to our students about is building your personal brand. Building your personal brand about being, of the highest professional capacity, building your brand of being of the highest ethical grounding, building your brand about being somebody who's above all else trustworthy, honest, that you can, count on to do a job for you, or to be a part of your organization. So that's the positive. The bad thing is if you fall afoul and suddenly do something to damage your personal brand, that's not a good thing, because it's a country of 5.5 million people, and everybody seems, particularly of like you're in finance, everybody knows it's a small finance community. 5.5 million is probably active financial, investment managers are probably 500, not even. Right, so you have to. It's a plus. It's a blessing and a curse. But those are the discussions we have with our students. It's like, this is New Zealand. This is the context of where you're wanting to move. So we have those discussions. So they get a heads up. They know that opportunities, but you need to maintain a strong game, right? Yes. You need to be good.
And also talking about the Massey University as a whole. So talking about studying in Massey University, how does the experience look like?
Massey University, so there's 8 public universities in New Zealand.
Yep.
Okay, and I like, when someone asks this question, I like to start with Massey, the founding of Massey University. Massey University was founded by the New Zealand government in 1927, so basically 100 years ago, as an agricultural university. Yeah. That's important. Why is that important? For several reasons. One is, agriculture is the key of the New Zealand economy. So for Massey to be founded as the Agriculture University of New Zealand, that's a big responsibility. Okay, so that's the one thing. But here's the thing. With our founding as an agricultural university, tasked with helping to grow the New Zealand economy, because certainly in those days, agriculture was everything. Yeah. It still is, top 5 or 6 position in terms of foreign exchange earnings, right? GDP. But that's a huge responsibility. So number one, so we have to turn out students and scientists who are able to contribute to the New Zealand economy in a very applied fashion. Here's the key point. So Massey University, as distinct from the other 7 universities, we are an applied university. Always have been. Nothing new. Relative to the other universities that maybe focus more on theoretical research, Massey University is informed by the latest research and theory, because we have some of the top researchers in the country, certainly, in certain areas, the top, like finance, for example. However, we teach our students in a very applied fashion. So when I teach finance, I think I said earlier, I teach them, this is the theory, but this is how you actually apply the theory to your day-to-day job. And that's I would say is the one thing that really distinguishes Massey, to my view, from the other 7 universities. Additionally, Massey University has a culture of student support, always has had, and that's what's kept me there going, is like, we're very student-centric. It's all about our students. It's a small community. We actually get to know our students. We know them on first name basis, most of them. And, we, as I've said already as well, we consider ourselves privileged to be a part of their academic journey and of them investing their futures in us. We're very, very student-centric. So the business school, for example, it's mandatory that each faculty for their course has 3 hours a week of open office. So you can come and talk to us, about your coursework, about your career options, about your life, and how New Zealand is, turning out to be, or whatever. But we're accessible. Like in my case for the MBA program, we have a lunch, an informal gathering for our students once a month, and the students can come approach me every Friday from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I've got open office hours, 2 hours. They come talk to me about whatever. So student centricity. So we're practical, we're student-centric, and we've always positioned ourselves, lastly, as a university that bridges academia with practice, bridges academia with business. Businesses come to us because they know that we provide them with the students who are fit for purpose, but it's a two-way street. So we provide them with students, but we have, for example, the MBA program, we have an advisory committee with Massey Business School, an advisory committee that's got the top business leaders from across all sectors. We meet regularly to talk. They tell us, this is what we need to be doing in terms of curriculum development. This is what's working. This is what's not working. This is what they're seeing from the students that graduate from our programs. So those 3 points. So we're applied, student-centric, and we position ourselves as the university that bridges what takes place within the, quote, hollowed halls of academia, the ivory tower, and practice. That's what we do. I believe we do it incredibly well.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of it. Is that coming through?
Yes, it is actually. The whole experience, I can already imagine that actually. So I've already completed my master's, and I wish I could again do the master's maybe in Massey University.
Well, we actually have a lot of our MBA students who have done masters elsewhere, who come to do the MBA because maybe they felt that their previous MBA study, or not MBA, but master's studies was too theoretical. It didn't really prepare them with the skills to go on and into the workforce. It's actually quite common. In fact, if you want to join the MBA program, the MBA program has 3 $2,000 awards we give. One is for 5+ years of work experience. One is for a prior master's study. So like yourself, you've done prior master's study, automatically get a $2,000 New Zealand dollar award. And then lastly is for their GPA from their most recent qualification. Okay. So we award all of this. No, it's very common actually. In fact, we even have students, not uncommon, who have done MBAs elsewhere. Because surprisingly, to me at least, where MBAs are meant to be an applied program, you have students maybe who do an MBA, let's say, pick a country, China, that it's a theoretical MBA. They haven't actually had a lot of hands-on application of knowledge. True. So that's an MBA is meant to be applied, right? It's a professional qualification. So they come do an MBA with us.
Yes, I can totally relate with that because the MBA that I did was the evening MBA here.
Oh, so you have an MBA actually?
Yes, yeah. So MBA in HR. So I did my MBA for evening classes.
Okay.
I used to work and then do the classes in the evening. So we have the executive MBAs, but it doesn't look that appealing. Honestly. So I've been there, done a lot of theoretical examinations, the homeworks, the assignments, the reports, and everything else. So that's a part of MBA that we do in about.
But you can come do your MBA now at Massey.
Yes.
I could be your finance professor.
Yes.
How would that be?
I did my finance major in my bachelor's.
I can even make finance fun.
Banking and finance was my major.
Oh, there you go. You'd be well suited.
Yeah. So I'm thinking I don't have any plans. I'm very happy at this place where I'm actually motivating the students to study further, and I can relate with them to find the common grounds where they need their advancement in their education system, education that they're actually pursuing. So yeah, I can totally relate with that, and I can totally relate with whatever you're saying regarding the practicality, the applied management skills that they need in order to achieve the goals that they have.
Well, I mean, you're coming from a good place in your role here at Access Education as a consultant, right? Because you kind of know the pros and the cons.
Yes.
You know what works, you know what doesn't work. You know, so you're able to provide some pretty sage advice. But what's coming through from you also, Sophie, is the passion, the pride in what you're doing here at Access Education, the value, the service you're providing for the students. And I'd have to say, you know, education or education consultancy. I think it's not as much. It's more about the reward of helping our students. Can we agree with that? I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Teaching in generally, I would say, is a profession that it's really about, you know, the giving back and the helping others to go on to realize their dreams. So that's what Massey University is all about. That's what our MBA program is all about. And hey, listen, I'll put this out here to you. I'm happy. This has been great. We've had this opportunity to chat today.
Yes.
But I'm always happy to jump online. I'm pretty free with my time, to the annoyance of my wife periodically when she wants to take some time off. But I'm always free if you want to organize a Zoom meeting or something like that. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, we'd love to. We'd love to have our student connect with you as well and learn more about the course, the business courses, what would be the best suitable course for them, and also just learning about the Massey University. And anything at last for our lovely students is watching us through our podcast, in YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all social media. So
I would only say this, that, you know, the fact that you're listening to this podcast is an important first step. Because, you know, decision making is all about being informed, about understanding your choices, so then that you can make an informed choice. So hopefully this podcast is giving you some more background, hopefully gives you a better feel of what differentiates Massey University, perhaps from other universities. Also some guidance on, you know, some of the skill set that employers are finding important. But the next step is then making, you know, a step towards your future, right? So this is an important first step, but ultimately you're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone a bit, because if you follow the path that is the most comfortable, you're going to have a very, hate to say it, but very common life, a very boring life. So you need to, push yourself. And that's what we also do at Massey. I like to push, cajole, prod, kick sometimes my students to make sure that I can help them get the most out of their potential. So those would be my final words of advice.
Thank you so much for the time, the valuable
pleasure.
time you've just come today to Nepal, and I hope you enjoyed today here in
Very
Nepal,
much.
and hope to see you in the future. And I would definitely connect our students who's actually willing to study in Massey University with you to learn and explore more about the courses as well. And it was lovely having a chat with you.
Thank you, Sophie.
I really enjoyed it.
That has been fun. I have had a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
And
much.
of course, thank you to our students listening.
Yes, thank you so much. And yes, I'll be back with another video, guys, so stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. So see you again, and bye bye from us.
Bye bye.